The Quick Fit British Touring Car Championship makes its way to Silverstone, half in Northamptonshire, half in Buckinghamshire, for weekend 9 of this year's World Championship battle between Tom Ingram and Ash Sutton. It is, again, one beats the other, round after round, and after Donington Park, anything is possible. But Tom Chilton got a victory last time out as well. Welcome to qualifying here on JB Motorsports. Sorry it's not live. A problem with our main issues means that we won't be live until midday tomorrow. Live coverage is going to be on JB Motorsports too. But right now, let's join down on the grid with Louise Goodman and Tim Harvey out and about with all the actions. We get ready for qualifying.
More out of a new tyre, you think, oh, there's half a second in a new tyre, but here might be a tenth. Yeah. So it's not as much as usual. So we've still got to work a bit harder to try and get some more out of the car. But here, straight line speed is important. And obviously, because I'm 6th in the championship, I only get 11 seconds rather than 15 on the Toka Turbo Boost, which is, I'm feeling the pain of it, but obviously not as much as my teammate, Tom.
Yeah.
Now, look. I hate to remind you, but this time last year, you were fastest in free practice, fastest at the start of the qualifying. You thought you'd get through on the medium tyre. You're not going to make that mistake again, are you?
No. Yeah, it's amazing what you learn, and you go, I'm not going to do that again. Yeah, it was very...
How long have you been in this championship?
Too long. Was it 26 years or something? Yeah, a long time. And I now know not to do that. So we're definitely going to be going out on softs at the start of qualifying. We don't know if it's going to rain or not. It says it might, but it says it should be raining right now, and it's not. It's just like, it's not really doing anything. So we're definitely going to use the softs. We're not going to make that mistake again, and hopefully we can get into Q3.
You talked about car setup. I know you chase it every weekend, whether it's with Barry, yourself, or looking what Tom Ingram's doing. But here, there's only really 4 corners, and 3 of them are slow, so it's quite a circuit-specific setup.
It is, absolutely. I always say you got to absolutely hanging on for dear life through Cops, which I was just then, and left foot braking as much as I possibly could. And you got to hang on and not go an inch off the curb or you get disqualified. So as long as you can just hang on, which I was just, the rest of the lap was perfect. So I was really happy with it.
Yeah, you need a perfect lap, Tom. I'm sure you can do it. Good luck.
Yeah,
Cheers.
good luck.
Cheers.
I can see your mum and dad in the background there. I remember their faces this time last year, so I don't want to see those faces again. Interesting, as Tom said, you know, as we're walking around at the moment just after FP2, it is dry, it is warm. There are a few drivers out there who will be wanting that rain to come because our championship protagonists weren't looking so hot in that session in the
Yeah, I mean, the bit we haven't discussed is the Toka Turbo Boost, the 15 seconds of boost that you get to use around this lap. And with only 4 corners, it makes the straights even more important. So if you've got that boost, it's a huge advantage or a disadvantage if you're Ash Sutton or Tom Ingram, because you just haven't got that extra speed down the straight. However aerodynamic the car is, that extra boost is worth about 4 or 5 tenths of a second round here, which is huge because with only 4 corners, it's hard enough to make up a tenth of a second in each of the corners to overshadow that deficit on the straights. It's really difficult. They were 17th and 12th in free practice. That's about where I expect them to possibly qualify. And
well, how important is your grid position for the start of race 1 here in terms of performance-wise? Is it all, or more or less than it is at other circuits?
Well, coming back to what you said about the weather, if it rains, it's a big help for them because it throws everything else up in the air. You can make more of a difference in the corners if it's wet than you can if it's dry. So potentially they can offset some of that. Toka Turbo disadvantage, and certainly in the race it will be an advantage for those starting at the back or championship runners if they don't qualify so well in the wet.
Yeah, I'm just looking over my shoulder. We're looking for Darryl de Leon, who I was hoping would be. Carry on chatting.
We'll carry on. Should we go in the garage?
Let's just see if I can stick my head in, see if he is around. And the answer is no. So we might just have to talk about him and about the BMW. I mean, what's your thought? Obviously, I could see Jake over in the corner.
Yeah, the BMWs are quite strong here. The car's always been aerodynamically quick, and of course it has good traction off those slow corners. I said that 3 of the 4 are slow, so they have good traction off them. Remember, Colin Turkington was on the front row of the grid last time here, and he joins us. Well done, Darryl.
You were hidden
on the wrong side of the garage waiting. That's why.
Where you?
I was just talking about how good the BMWs are around here.
Yeah, it's gone pretty well today, so yeah, pretty happy.
Do you put that down to the traction off the corners, or just a bit of extra straight line speed, or combination?
To be honest, I don't really know. I think I've done a lot of sim work, a lot of preparation in terms of this weekend, and I think historically it's been pretty good. Like you said, traction zones and stuff. So. Yeah, I think we're pretty strong, but again, I was only free practice and it was dry, so it's probably going to be a wet quali next. So yeah.
Well, and what we were just debating or discussing the impact that will have. How much do you think that will shake up the order? I mean, do you think your car? We know it's quick in the dry. Will it be quick in the wet as well?
I hope so. I don't really.
There's a lot of hope going on here, Darryl.
Yeah, there's a lot of. I don't really mind what the weather does as long as the cars are quick. So, but we're quick in the dry, so that's a positive. And hopefully, if it does rain, we'll be as quick as we are in the wet. So, yeah.
I was just asking Tim as well. How important is grid slot here? What's your view on that?
It's quite important. I think, like I've mentioned previously, this championship's very close, and any little difference can really affect your race. So. It's a long circuit. Oh, it's a short circuit, but there's a long straight. So, I mean, like just getting the run onto it as quick as you can is important, and getting a good launch off the line is important, because if you bog down or wherever you are in the field, it makes a big difference. So, yeah.
It's a circuit actually where we've seen drafting going on previously, but with this new Quick 6 format, that's not really possible, is it?
Yeah, I mean, I think it's still possible, but because you're so limited with time, it's quite crucial. So, I mean, you could have a tow, but then you could get held up on the last sector. So I think I feel you're best to just push in your free air. So, yeah, that's probably what I'm going to do.
Well, we're about to find out how qualifying pans out. And the first group of drivers we're going to see, Adam Morgan then, who topped FP2, Tom Chilton, Jake Hill, Charles Rainford, Josh Cook, Senna Proctor, Mikey Doble, look at this, Dan Camish and Ash Sutton. They were only 15th and 17th in FP2. Chris Smiley also a long way back, and then Nick Hamilton. And on that evidence alone, Tim, it does suggest that around here the boost, or relative lack of it for many, is really going to hurt.
It really does hurt, maybe. It's one of those things.
His mic's not on.
You're about 50 second down on the...
We'll come to Tim again in a moment, because the cars are about to make their way out on track.
Yep, the green light's on, and the first one is underway.
Now to join the queue down the pit lane. So everybody making their way now onto the circuit for this first group. With the green flag having been shown. 10 minutes. Now, the good thing is, around here, 10 minutes gives you quite a lot of mileage. It's a short lap, so you're into the realms of Brands Hatch, Indy, and Knock Hill as the other short circuits on the lap. In the earlier FP sessions, a 56.9 from Darryl de Leon in FP1, a 56.5 in the second of the free practice sessions. Pole position last year in not ideal conditions, 62.3. That was a Tom Ingram lap. There is Ash Sutton then, who ventures out onto the circuit. Really important weekend this for Ash Sutton. He has got to score points. He's got to score big points, and he's got to outscore Tom Ingram.
Well, hopefully my microphone's working this time, and big plus for Ash Sutton is that he has got Dan Camish, his teammate, in this session as well, and he's going to need a tow from him to try and overcome that lack of Toka Turbo boost, which is worth about 0.5 of a second, 4 or 0.5 of a second round here, but a good slipstream from Dan Camish could perhaps recover a couple of tenths of that.
And now we welcome you up to the commentary box and welcome in Tom Cairns as well. And Tom, this is going to be quite an entertaining qualifying. As I said, it's on the national circuit, so we get quite a lot of mileage out there.
Yeah, they've got a chance. I mean, they've had 2 practice sessions prior to this, both of which have been 35 minutes long. So they've had over an hour's running of, track time for these, particularly Jake Hill. Not running that high in the standings. I mean, he did well in the last round in Donington, I believe, from memory. Yes, it is that long ago. It's like 3 weeks ago since British Touring Car's last race. But the emphasis is very much on the championship battle involving Ash Sutton and Tom Ingram. Will the championship effectively be decided? I don't expect it to be mathematically decided, but you have to say, if Tom Ingram has as good of a weekend here as he did in Donington, he's effectively got one hand on the trophy.
Yeah, I'm with you on that 100% as well. He'll be in for the most dominant weekend we can see for a while as the session still gets underway. Remember, it's a split session, so it will be 2 parts for Group 1, and then we'll run together to see the remaining segments for Q3. That'll be the top 12 from the session, and then we'll run in as well for the final run of the final part of quali, which goes all together for the, well, it'll be the top 6 fastest in that session as well, the Firestone Fast 6 that'll come through out there at the moment. So all looking strong as the 2 cars of Hill and Rainford are 1-2 at the moment, Tom, as the session gets underway.
Yeah, and there was a mention as well about the amount of token boost per lap that the top 6 in the championship are allowed to use. Is that both in qualifying and in the race as well, or is that just the race?
It's across both.
57.349 seconds, but we had a couple of drivers.
It will be both that you can use it for as well.
Practice sessions, so
across it.
You're probably going to have at least a mid-56.
Well, we've got Charles Rainford coming through to post a lap time, which will be more representative than the first one. They do need at least 2 prep laps before they start pushing. We expect times to get into the next part of qualifying. Now, this is 2 groups of qualifying to determine the fastest 12 to advance into the next stage. So we'll get the fastest 6 in this group, and then the second group will get the fastest 6 in that to determine who will make it into the fastest 12 or into the second part of qualifying, however you want to call it.
So, Rainford with the fastest first sector time out of 14.767. Sector 2 is at 18.916. As we now look at him into the final couple of corners coming through. Rain falling at Cops, Pico is saying as well. Jack Pickering is there. And I wonder, is that Pico? Pico, have you just tried to call me? Is that what you were on about? Is that you calling me? I apologise if I missed out. I'm trying to get Pico's trackside if he can join.
Zero, 57.062. Not as good as they were doing in free practice, but maybe it was slightly traffic affected. But if the track surface is going to change, then let's see. He might be sitting pretty. This is Dan Camish, twice a pole position winner already this year. And the Napa Racing Ford then heads up towards the timing line. So Camish is about to try to put a lap on the board, and he goes 3rd. That was a 57.931. Rainford, Hill, Camish, the 3 that have done a lap time. We're into the second half of this first part of qualifying.
And I can tell you that Sutton is not, although he's next across the line, he's not following in the toe of Camish.
No, it's not. It's still a bit cloudy. It's raining, as Pico said. At turn 1, you can now see Sutton having to be affected by it, Tom. So already at the first corner, you're flying in dramatically into Maggots and then the Beckett's hairpin. Hard on the brakes. You can see it's a short circuit here. Rain will affect it all.
Yep, and using their front headlights, some of these now. We've had rain all day across the country. I mean, there's been rain over in my area, whereas in Northamptonshire, it's been kind of on and off. So this is probably going to be the first set of lap times that could determine who makes it into the second part. We've got Rainford, Hill, Camish, Sutton, Smiley and Cook, all with lap times there as we look at one of the Napa cars that looks like Ash Sutton going through Brooklands, and we are seeing the wet weather tyres being ready for later on. They're probably not going to need them now. It's probably too dry to put those on, but when the second group are heading out, that is when they're going to be needing the wet tyres, I think. But Rainford looks safe, actually, JB, with centre proxy Adam Morgan and Tom Childers. Just saw Morgan go off the circuit there. That's over on the pit straight. as he heads towards Copse Corner, and I think that lap time's going to go for Senna Proctor, but he's running out of chances here. The track is getting increasingly greasy.
Yeah, this is going to be a slap bang wallop session with 3.5 to go. Not expecting too much of pace time, sadly, with the way this situation's coming on the race strategy. I would say we are a couple of moments away from having them decide, okay, now is the time we need to put on the full wets. And I'm not even kidding about it being maybe if that rain, as we've seen here before at Silverstone, gets really heavy, the dreaded red flag might be needed. It's just on the cusp of how this circuit just gets so repetitive with damp. It retains the water, it doesn't drain very well. We remember back in Formula 1 earlier on this year.
Absolutely.
We saw that access coming through, so we will hold it together and see what this session will bring. But we have our 2 screens available up here in the commentary booth to help out between the qualifying screen and the full battle screen, so we can see me and Tom shortly.
Well, Chilton's out on the circuit as he's gone 10 fastest, 6 seconds off the pace, so Rainford's come back into the pit lane. No, he doesn't need to be doing any more in this particular part of qualifying. He's virtually assured of a place in the top 12.
It's going to be the first lap's getting... Okay, so Pico's now saying it's getting heavier as Rainford's just checking the rear brakes. Jake Hill over the line. His last lap time was not good enough as well, so the rain is getting heavier and he's making a mistake at turn 1. He's snapping underneath him as well, so Hill not looking 100% certain with 1 minute 40 to go. Hamilton, Doble, Proctor, Chilton and Morgan are in the drop zone. As you take a look now at Senna Proctor out of the last corner, up towards the line now. Is it quick? No, he's down on time. 8th fastest only, so he improves up 1 place. Nothing at the moment is coming into factor. The circuit getting damper and damper, as Pico's been telling us, who is trackside down there. Chilton now goes ahead into 8th position, so the early laps have been the important factor here, which puts it as Rainford, Hill, Camish, Sutton, Smiley and Cook, your top 6 so far. 1 minute 14 to go. Here's Tom Chilton now. As we cut back, he's down by 1 second alone in the first sector. He's got no delta time left. Proctor's off a couple of bits as well. Down by 2 seconds in the middle sector. 1.5 seconds down. So yeah, Tom, this is done.
Yeah, I think so. It's just a matter of whether anyone can dispose of Mikey Doble, who's running in 6th position. I mean, Chris Smiley isn't too far up either in terms of the time, but it's just whether Senna Proctor, Tom Chilton and co have got anything left. Green sectors in 1 and 2 for Senna Proctor. He's going over the line now, and it's good enough to move him into the top 6. There's actually still time to be found at the moment, JB, with Mikey Doble needing another good time to get through into the top 12.
Yep, so that moves him up into 5th position. That pushes Doble out. Now, several drivers in the pit lane that we won't see improvements on. Hamilton is one of them. He's had his lap time deleted for track limits, so he's down into 11th place. Over the line comes Mikey Doble. He's 7th at the moment. Crosses over, does kick out Smiley. So Smiley's out as the flag falls. Cook goes in P5. Over the line now, Mikey Doble. He goes 5th at back as well. So Proctor's now kicked out as well. One after the other changing factors. Chilton now into the penultimate corners. This is down into Brooklands, then through Luffield. Woodcock will be the last one across the line. Fastest personal best sectors 1 and 2. No purples out there though. Proctor got the last one with the fastest speed sector 2. Overline Chilton, he goes, well that's Morgan 7th. Cameron's picked up the wrong car. Here we go, Chilton over the line. Only goes 8, so no one improving. And that's it. So don't think Josh Cook's improving out there on his delta time, no. So your 6 going through from Q1 is Rainford, Hill, Camish, Sutton, Proctor and Doble. Morgan, Chilton, Cooks, Smiley and Hamilton are out.
And he has done now. In his final lap. Cook's gone through. Doble's out, JB.
That's because his lap time's been deleted. So Cook has managed to get through and Doble's lap time's been reinstated by the stewards, which pushes Cook back out. So a couple of lap times getting deleted, but Doble has gone through. Cook is out of the session.
There's one in place of the Neil Brown engine, so it's only Max Buxton who still has...
Camish is knocked out. Sorry.
So we have Rainford, Hill,
Several lap times for Kamish have just been deleted. All of Kamish's lap times deleted because he's failed the ride height check. So Kamish has failed the ride height check. He's lost all of his lap times, so then Napa will start at the back of the grid. There it is. Well, it's going under now, but then it just stops under and gets stuck. So Kamish has failed the ride height.
Work out why he'd been put to the bottom without a lap time, and the answer is that 27 has failed the ride height check. So Rainford, Hill, Doble, Sutton. Where did Doble suddenly spring from? Sutton 4th, Proctor 5th, and Cook 6th.
The unusual thing about that is they're not running on wets. Normally when they run on wets and wear them down is when they fail the ride height. To fail the ride height on slicks is really unusual because they have plenty of opportunity to check the car, and they do constantly.
Now Doble's last lap was good enough to go 4th, take Kamish out, he's up to 3rd, but it was a proper flying lap of 57 from Mikey Doble, so the road improved again right at the very end. Right, so let's just recap. Rainford, Hill, Doble, the top 3, Dan Kamish out through failing the ride height. So Group 1 out of Q1, the 6 that go through, Charles Rainford, Jake Hill, and then Mikey Doble doing his personal best lap as he took the checkered flag. Ash Sutton 4th, Senna Proctor 5th, and Josh Cook 6th. Adam Morgan goes, Tom Chilton goes, Chris Smiley goes, Nick Hamilton goes, Dan Kamish fails the ride height and therefore is going to go to the back of the grid, and therefore not only is that bad news for Dan Kamish, it's bad news for Ash Sutton, because that's a teammate that can't help him, because he's going to be behind not only Sutton but behind Ingram. And we understand here Tom Chilton is having a problem on that ride height check as well. Right, Group 2 underway.
Yeah, no time to dwell on that. We'll get a report on that later. I didn't see the Chilton problem, but it was reported to us. So here we are with Group 2.
And it's Daryl De Leon, Dan Lloyd, Aidan Moffat, Gordon Shedden, Aaron Taylor-Smith, Tom Ingram, Dan Rowbottom, Sam Osborne, Max Buxton, Dexter Patterson and Nick Halstead. That's the group, and we're hearing in our ears that Tom Chilton has failed the ride height check. Now, that doesn't affect the top 6. He wasn't in the top 6.
So more car 3 failed ride height. So Tom, that's 2 cars failing the ride height. All I can think about is if it's about setup changes, if they've gone for one tyre set over the other, maybe, as we now envision. Hello, everyone. If it's like they've gone for, wet tyres and it's dropped the ride height compared to the dries.
Yeah, because because it's very hard to comprehend, because in wet weather conditions you have to raise the ride height so that the car is not floating along the surface, whereas in the dry you need to have the car at a low ride height for the sake of performance. That's really unfortunate for both Tom Chilton and Dan Kamish, but it's also good news for Ash Sutton, because now that Tom Chilton is out of the picture, Chilton cannot help Ingram effectively in qualifying anymore. It's going to be down pretty much between Sutton and Ingram. It's a straight fight for pole, providing they get that far.
Yep, sorry, it's been a bit of a chaotic start to this session, by the way, everybody, to come into it. Only because the Formula One went really, really long. So we literally had like 10 minutes to set everything up for the touring car qualifying session to come into it. But Osborne on a lap time now as he flies up. And everyone's still out there. Well, Osborne's on wets.
Yeah, I was just going to say, he's on wets, this Sam Osborne, so he's probably thinking, if he raises the rider, he will have raised that rider. He's probably thinking about what happens to Dan Kamish in the first group. So they've probably played it safe a little bit here, Napa, to ensure that Osborne gets as far as he can to try and help Ash Sutton.
So still going on about how mad this one is. Just a reminder, after this qualifying session, if you're watching on JBMotorsports 2, the live coverage, we're going to stay with it because we've got 2 more races coming your way. So there's a lot still of action today as we see Osborne flying towards Brooklands, and he, on the wet tyre, is going strong. Cars coming down pit lane, and I wonder if this will be for wet tyres as Tom Ingram's going to head out there. We're waiting for the track pit lane to be clear on the National Straight. Osborne on 102. Hang on a minute, where was Osborne? That's Robot on 102, 483. Off it 3 seconds back. They're on dry tyres, remember. So Osborne up to the line now. He's coming across it, and Osborne fastest 1 minute 8:35. So I would say now, Tom, that the wets are the tyre to be on.
Yeah, but the rain looks like it's stopped, because we can't see the windscreen wipers being used by Dan Rowbottom. So could that give the indication that a change back onto the slicks for the final few minutes could be what it needs? It's a saving grace that British touring cars are racing on a shorter circuit compared to, let's say, Thruxton or Snetterton or somewhere like that. They've got enough time to make the switch to slicks now if they wanted to, but right now it's Sam Osborne who seemingly is on the correct rubber.
Yep, he is at the moment. And who else is out there on wet tyres? Nobody. They're all still on dries. Let's have a look at Dan Rowbottom. He is on the softs. He's used up all his token boost over the line and goes from 3rd place up to the top. 59.589 then for Robo. Moffat 101.355. So now the soft tyres have got the tyre advantage back. 1.2 seconds the difference. Here's Darrell de Jong in the BMW coming round for West Surrey Racing. He loses out a little bit of the apex speed coming through Luffield, hooks up apex number 2 as well, and then pushes the power down over the line as he comes over fastest middle sector. Can he beat a 59.589 over the line? Now it's 58.455. Well, it's 1.1 faster as well. So Darrell de Jong really shocked me with how improved he was there, Tom.
Yep, that would have been on slicks as well. I'm sure he was on slicks when he set that lap time. There's no way you can set a time of that magnitude on the wet weather tyres. Here is Gordon Shedden, who's won this season at Alton Park when we were over there watching in that brilliant final race of the weekend, I have to say. But now he's gone to second fastest in this group. As Gordon, so up there, and Aidan Moffat is now broke into the 57s.
Yeah, it's a brilliant lap time. He's half a second cleared Darrell de Jong, but Darrell de Jong's got fast sectors 1 and 2, as you can see on the timing tower at the moment. Aaron Taylor-Smith now puts it into 2nd place as well, so he's found a bit more delta time as they fly in on board with Tom Ingram in the Virtue as well. 4th here. 5th gear, flat out as he approaches the line. Well, Robo's boxed. Darrell de Jong has lost his lap time for track limits. Ingram only 7th on his build-up lap time as he throws the car in towards Copse Corner. Right height, still a little bit loose and squiggly, but it's looking fine to me, Tom, at the moment as they head down towards Magnet and Becker's. Dexter Patterson goes 2nd, and Lloyden goes 2nd, and now, well, Shedden 2nd top. Shedden takes provisional pole position. 57.625, so a remarkable time. And now Moffat goes back to the top, 57.266. Go on, Tom.
Yep, and a reminder that Tom Ingram only has 1 second's worth of the Toka Boost available, so he's going to be at a massive disadvantage compared to the rest of the field. So we're going to be in for an unpredictable qualifying, probably an unknown name taking pole position, or someone who hasn't taken pole position in a while in the British Touring Car Championship. Darrell de Leon is coming through, 15 seconds worth of Toka Boost he's got, so he's got the maximum allocation. Heads over the line, and his latest lap is good enough for the fastest time ahead of Moffat.
Sunshine now coming out here at Silverstone. De Jong 57.190. Moffat 2nd, Shedden 3rd, Taylor Smith 4th, Lloyd 5th, Ingram in 6th. Drop zone is Patterson, Holstead, Rowbottom, Osborne and Buxton. Over the line, Patterson goes 6th. Dan Lloyd fastest. 57.070. Shedden 4th, 57.4. Track's improving. Lap time disallowed for car 16. Track limits turn 1. As we're now on board with Tom Ingram. 7th at the moment. Estimated to go 6th. Taylor Smith goes 4th. But with 3 minutes to go, Tom, the championship leader, looking at a little bit of trouble here. And he needs a good weekend because you make mistakes at Silverstone. You go to Brands Hatch in 2 weeks' time, or 3 weeks' time, I should say. Very, very worried.
Yeah, he's using the boost on the exit of Luffield. That's where Ingram's most likely going to be using his boost. Nick Fastest at the moment with a 57.5. Not a bad lap time, but the track is picking up.
It's picking up. It's getting dangerous. It's getting lovely, which is what we like to see here. 2:35 left on the clock. Aidan Moffat then fastest first sector. Second sector's done a personal best. He's getting it out of Luffield towards Woodcote. The rear stepping out of the LKQ BMW. Rowbottom goes 5th. That pushes Shedden down. Moffat from 3rd. Over the line, 57.403. Doesn't improve time nor position. Stays in that order as they come down. There's Moffat through 1. And over the line now comes Aaron Taylor-Smith. Doesn't improve his time either. 2 minutes to go, and the Delta's still getting a bit iffy.
We've got Ingram coming out of Luffield and Woodcote here. Personal best in sectors 1 and 2. Can he remain in the top 6? Well, he's outside the top 6 at the moment, is Ingram. And he's outside it by 400.
Moffat's
so
got,
he needs yeah.
Moffat's got the fastest first sector, 14.716. Shedden's gone third, 57.243. And we've got a little train here between Osborne, Ingram, and I can't see who's just behind, Osborne. Now gets out of the way. Ingram's going to pass it down this back straight. He's got a bit more traction coming into it. Is that rain again? As Moffat does a 57.061. He's 9 thousandths clear of Lloyd at the moment. It's still shiny on the surface, can you see? Oh, and Ingram locks up, coming into Brooklands. He's backed out of the time. Go on, Tom.
Yeah, well, he might get a tow off that car in front. Now, if he's only got that 1 second worth of Toka boost available, he has to make the most of what he can do with the tow ahead of him, potentially, because that's the only way now that Ingram's going to be able to advance into the next stage of qualifying. Sam Osborne has gone over the line, only 9th fastest for him, but Ingram is the one we're focusing on because he's outside the top 6. Sutton made it through in the other group, and now it's vitally important that Ingram makes it through himself. He's got to find at least 110 on this final lap. Otherwise, he's not going to be making it through.
He's slamming down everything, everywhere around it as he continues on. Ingram moving up and still going stronger. 57.061 for Moffat. That's the top time. Ingram's estimated to go up in, well, the computer says 6, but we'll see if that's possible. This is his last opportunity. He's languishing in 7th. He's used his 1 second of boost. He's 4 tenths down at the moment, but crucially, he's inside that time of Rowbottom as he exits now the last 2 corners. The checker flag falls. Is Ingram going to go through, or does the championship leader fall and start this race at the back in 13th or 14th position over the line? And he's missed it. Ingram is out of qualifying. Buxton, Patterson, Osborne, Holstead, they're out too. And Tom, that is major blows, as Sutton did get through, but Ingram, he is out.
And that's the thing with only having 1 second worth of Toka boost. Now, as Sutton, who's second in the championship, he's got more than what Ingram has. Is it 3 seconds?
3 seconds
that Sutton's
got.
Yeah, so that's the difference actually then for, you know, Sutton and Ingram there. And Daryl De Leon, well, he has every reason to feel a little bit more smiley because he is through into the next stage of qualifying, no problem. The winner in Brands Hatch earlier this year, aiming to continue and impress as the season goes on.
Lot to do then. Part 2 of qualifying is about to start shortly. Let's head back down to ITV as the rain's still coming down here at Silverstone again.
Time this year, though, that Aidan has got into Q2. Bravo. So Aidan Moffat the fastest from Dan Lloyd and Daryl De Leon. Gordon Shedden 4th. And there you see Dan Rowbottom, who has just done Ash Sutton a big favour by bumping out Tom Ingram and keeping him out of that top 6. So, Q1 Group 2, the progression for Aidan Moffat, for Dan Lloyd, for Daryl De Leon, Gordon Shedden and Aaron Taylor-Smith, and Dan Rowbottom. They are the 6 that will go through. Tom Ingram out. First time all season he has missed Q2. Max Buxton goes, Dexter Patterson is out, farewell Sam Osborne, and the other one to go is Nick Halstead. And that therefore gives us those 6 drivers to face the, first of all, scrutineering checks. Tom Ingram would quite like somebody else to drop out through the ride height check. He wants to pass, but he wants 1 or 2 others to perhaps fail and give him an opportunity. So Charles Rainford, Jake Hill, Mikey Doble, Ash Sutton, Senna Proctor and Josh Cook from that first group, being joined by the 6 to be confirmed in a moment once scrutineering checks are done out of Group 2.
So interesting going into the next Q2 with the 12 there. There are quite a few cars with a maximum 15 seconds, but of those with restricted Toka Turbo Boost, Jake Hill has 9 seconds, Dan Rowbottom has 7, Ash Sutton has 3, everyone else has the maximum of 15. So it shows how important that Toka Turbo Boost is when 9 of the 12 have all got maximum boost to go through.
So there, Tom Ingram's car, which will now not be doing very much else for the remainder of the session, and there'll be lots of data to look over, and they're very disappointed, Tom Ingram. He has been involved in this championship long enough to know that you have good weekends and bad weekends, but is this the start of a bad weekend? It's very rare you get through a whole championship season without one bad day, one bad weekend, and he does not need it to happen here.
No, and the car is strong. The car is very strong, but this is the worst place to come to with a lack of turbo boost, because it's going to hurt you in qualifying, as they know. But it does put him in a bit of a danger zone for the grid for race 1.
So let's just remind ourselves that Aidan Moffat and Dan Lloyd, as well as Daryl De Leon, will go through, along with Gordon Shedden, Aaron Taylor-Smith and Dan Rowbottom to join the 6 from that first group. And BMW is then topping each of the 2 groups, although perhaps that was slightly weather affected. Nick Halstead, as you see, 11th in that group, another one sadly that's going to be way down on the grid. But we now know Tom Chilton and Dan Camish to be at the very back through failing that ride height. So it's already interesting, isn't it? And we're not done yet. 2 more elements to qualifying to go as Ash Sutton awaits a green light at the end of the pit lane. And our second part of qualifying, where you've got 12 of them, so a slightly busier circuit that's ready to get underway.
This will be a tough ask for Sutton now, because this is going to be a very tough group to get in the final 6. I don't think he'll do it, but I think he'll try and get obviously as high as he can. But to get in that top 6, very tough.
Just being ahead of Tom Ingram is going to be absolutely vital. Right, let's just reflect on Tom Ingram. Louise is down there in probably, Lou, not a very happy camp.
A frustrated camp would be a fair thing to say, and you can tell that frustration. I mean, Tom is a driver who always comes out for a chat, but he's walked straight through the garage with his helmet on still and gone out to the trucks out of the back, so obviously hugely frustrated. I just grab a quick word with Spencer Aldridge, Tom's engineer. Said, was there any specific issue? And Spencer said, we tried to play safe. We went for a medium setup between the wet and the dry, obviously expecting that we were possibly going to get more rain than we actually did. So I think that's what's compromised them. But yeah, as you say, not an ideal start to this penultimate weekend in the championship.
Indeed. Louise, thanks very much. But we do know how hard a racer Tom is. Race 1's going to be fascinating already, isn't it?
It is, but he's got a race with very few laps of turbo boost. That's the problem.
Yeah.
Qualifying, just to remind you, it's all about seconds. In the racing, it's number of laps that you have with the Toka Turbo Boost.
Right, so out go Rainford, Hill, Doble, Sutton, Proctor, Cook, Moffat, Lloyd, De Leon, Shedden, Taylor-Smith, Rowbottom. Interesting mix of teams and drivers. And 10 minutes as Ash Sutton then, eyes forward, accelerates out of the pit lane. Heading up then through Maggots on towards Beckett's, the Toyotas, and encouragingly for Speedworks, 3 of the 4 have got through, so the M-Sport motivated Corollas are looking pretty fleet, and this has always been quite a kind circuit to the Corolla.
Yeah, although ironically, the problem that we've been complaining about all year is straight line speed, which is the one asset that you want as much as possible here. So clearly that change to the M-Sport engines is helping them out enormously.
So into the second part then of qualifying we go, with the top 12 going to be out there on the circuit. Tom, Doble, Lloyd, Shedden, Cook, Taylor-Smith, Rainford, Moffat, De Jong, Hill, Proctor, Rowbottom, Sutton, and a damp track. What could possibly go wrong?
Well, let the fun begin, because this track is going to pick up every second, never mind minute, every second, because of the amount of grip that's been laid down from each of the 12 drivers on the racetrack. We're looking at Mikey Doble, who did very well to get through by the skin of his teeth, actually, when he was in the first part of today's qualifying. Can he keep up in this one? Well, I suppose the advantage he's got is with all that Toka boost that he can utilise. He's got a chance to take the fight in the Independence Championship with the likes of Chris Smiley in that. Meanwhile, first getting this solid lap on the board, around about 57 lap times what you need to get into the final part. It's a 57.7.
So still coming in then as a 57.4 for Shedden. 2 turns clear going forward at the front of the field. So with small improvements, small changes, keeps coming through, but still improving, still strong as they attack back through. There's Rainford. So Shedden, Moffat, Taylor-Smith, Doble, Rainford, Hill, De Jong. The first lap times coming through on the timing monitor. Still a lot to play for though, Tom, and I've got a feeling it might be that throughout the session.
Well, if the rain does come down, then yes, you are right. It is pretty much that. Having said that, Rainford's time still puts him in a perilous position to being booted out by any of those below him. Jake Hill most certainly is one of them. He's gone purple in sector 1, so he's expected to bounce straight into the top 6. Dan Lloyd isn't going particularly quick. I think he's just on a prep lap at the moment. Gordon Shedden is exiting the last one. He's gone purple in to 2. He is latest at times he heads over the line is good enough to put into the top.
So it's a 57.23. Taylor Smith, 57.296. Moffat up there. So Aaron Taylor Smith's finding time out of absolutely nowhere. Well, once again, the times are going to be randomised, and this is what we like to see. Hill, 57.059. Rowbottom, 57.127. He's gone second fastest. De Jong and Rainford in trouble. But now let's not forget, if Sutton doesn't progress, he starts closer to where Tingram will be in race 1.
Yeah, and considering where Ingram ended up at the end of it, he was 7th fastest, wasn't he, in the group he was in. So, yes, you are right. It's going to be close between Sutton and Ingram. And, of course, there are the ride height checks, which Sutton will have to undergo, won't he, at the end of this particular part of qualifying. If he fails that, then he's in real trouble.
Just looking at the delta times on our computer monitors up here in the commentary box as well. Rainford's got a 50. Rainford's out first sector 14.733. Second sector's looking good over the line, and he'll go up into 4th position 57.183. So Hill, Rowbottom, Sheridan, Rainford, Lloyd, Moffat now. Hill's just improved. So has De Jong, who's gone top, 56.853. Rowbottom 3rd, so the top 3 have improved. Proctor goes 5th, 57.175. Sutton only 12th faster than that first run though, Tom. So 1.7 seconds down for Ash Sutton in the Napa. But now he's got 3 seconds to contend with on this lap time as he heads down and towards Maggots and the Beckett's hairpin. He's got to really find that time delta quick as we look at Senna Proctor.
Yeah, and the only place where Sutton's going to be using that boost is on the exit of Luffield, because not only will he need to finish off the lap very nicely, but he also needs to kick-start the next one in the best way possible. So the exit of Luffield is the only place where Sutton really has to use his Toka boost.
Still looking stronger as Sutton continues on and pushes. Ash Sutton 12th fastest at the moment to try and keep on the deltas. They'll still fly for more times coming into it. It's not too bad though, as what we were expecting.
Well, we've just seen Sutton heading over there. You can see he's using his boost before he gets that. And this latest lap is good enough only for 12th. He's still the slowest of them all. 1.5 seconds off the pace. Oh, he's lost it!
He's spun it around! 4 minutes to go, and Ash Sutton loops it around, exit of turn 1. As I was checking the delta because a lap time came up for track limits for Robo. Oh yeah, now Ash Sutton goes round. Well, that's ludicrous. It's track limits for Robo, by the way. That shoved him down to 6th place. Well, bizarre, but amazing. Sutton spins it with 4 minutes to go. I've got a feeling, though, Tom, this is going to be, as Cook goes second, I don't think Sutton's going through.
No, he's got no chance. I mean, with that 3-second boost he's only got, his only hope before the session had even started is for a deluge of rain to really hit the racetrack. He isn't going to get it, and there's no way he's going to topple any of those top 11. Absolute no chance. One man who will be happy, though, to the delight of Tom Ingram and Tom Chilton, perhaps, is Senna Proctor, who's in P2. He could be the man that could really save Team Virtue's day.
Let's have a replay. Just gets off. He was off track actually when he lost the rear, so the lap time would have gone anyway. But he just looped it round. He just took too much speed in, took the entry curve, hits the grass, and it just loops him round.
Yeah, and it's that wet. It's the painted black and white curbs from the rain we've had earlier. That's what's contributed to the spin for our Sutton. But thankfully, he was able to continue and not beach it in the gravel trap nearby. But I stand by the fact that he's not going to be able to get through. Aidan Moffat's gone purple in sector 1. His latest lap not good enough to move him into the top 6. And unless we see some improvements, I mean, Jake Hill's on for an improvement. He's heading over the line. And he's second now. We are now looking at Ash Sutton. You can see the right rear lifting off the ground on the entry to Luffield. And this is going to be only good enough for P12, I would say. That Napa looks like it's running a higher ride height compared to where it should be, hence why you're seeing the lack in performance. And even with that time, he's still nearly half a second off Mikey Doble in P11.
2 minutes to go in this part of qualifying. Sutton still running on. We'll have a third part, a final part, which will be the top 6 that will go out on the session. And yeah, car 16, track limits turn 1. Car 1, turn 1, track limits, having lap times deleted. left, right and centre. So that's Jake Hill, who drops down into 5th position. 99 track limits as well out there on the circuit. So more deletions coming through. That was Charles Rainford, who's now dropped down as well into 9th position. Robo over the line. Does he improve? Well, he only goes 7th fastest at the moment with 1 minute 20 to go on the clock. Still out wide. What you don't want, of course, is a red flag, because then we set it to 5 as a reminder to all of you at home. In order to get a full run in. De Jong, though, still top from Proctor, Cook, Lloyd, Hill and Shedden. Aaron Taylor-Smith's sector time's looking okay. He's 10th at the moment. Personal best sector 1. Down in sector 2. Might try and find something in the final part as he comes out of the last corner, up towards the line. Is it quicker? Answer to that is no. So they're all losing time, aren't they now, Tom? The tyres are gone.
Yeah, the tyres are pretty much gone. I would agree with you on that. You don't see any greens now. We're not seeing any more greens on the timing tower, which will suggest that the tyres are gone, the session's effectively done, and we're about to lose both nappers from this particular part of qualifying. And I think you have to say that the man who gains the most out of all this, with the least amount of hope in retaining his cycle, is Jake Hill.
Yep, Hill is going to be in great position to fight for pole as we now look at the last lap time for Ash Sutton, who might face elimination and start roughly near where we need Tom Ingram to be. So tomorrow is going to be a very fun 3 events to keep your eyes on here, as Ash Sutton will exit now towards the back straight, the Wellington straight, down in towards Brooklands, and try and find a little bit more slipstream as he will break. But no one's in front of him, and no one's improving either. Flags out, by the way.
Yeah, and Sutton's not even improving on this start. He had a green sector 1, yellow in sector 2, and I thought maybe with the amount of fuel he'll have burnt off during the course of this session, he might have a slight chance of sneaking through, but it doesn't look like he's going to be improving this one. He'll do well to even move above Mikey Doble if he's lucky, but that's about as far as it will go. And this later start for Sutton is not an improvement.
Stays 12th, so Rowbottom out, Moffat, Rainford, Taylor-Smith, Doble and Sutton last on the running order. Top 6 now goes to Dal de Jong, Proctor, Cook, Lloyd, Hill and Shedden. This is going to be a very interesting session. Moffat, who was top in the previous groups, kicked out. Let's head back to ITV.
Josh Cook are the top 3. 4th, Dan Lloyd. Then you've got Jake Hill and Gordon Shedden. That's Gordon's second appearance in Q2 all season, and he's therefore going to break into Q3 for the first time. So already we have an interesting grid, given the 6 that are going to be at the very front of it. So Jake Hill goes through his 3rd visit to Q3 this year. Senna Proctor goes through, 4th visit. And Josh Cook, that's his 1st as well. After those 3, it is Dan Lloyd for 4th ahead of Hill and Shedden. So Darrell De Leon by 1/10 of a second from Senna Proctor. Josh Cook 3rd fastest, Dan Lloyd 4th, Jake Hill 5th, and Gordon Shedden the last one who will go through. Dan Rowbottom misses out, so does Aidan Moffat, so does Charles Rainford, and so also does Aaron Taylor-Smith. Mikey Doble goes, and Ash Sutton then is condemned to start 12th.
Well, De Leon has kept up that form from practice, hasn't he, with a 56.7. That's a very quick lap time, quicker than he went even in free practice, and only a 10th off what Adam Morgan did in free practice too, which is the quickest time so far, and is a new qualifying record at the moment.
And again, what do you read into these free practice sessions? The names that we were talking about being quick early on in the day, struggling in qualifying. So the team's in the pit lane, and there are 6 drivers ready to go back out. There you've got Dan Lloyd, his 2nd appearance in Q3, but the first one's for Josh Cook and Gordon Shedden. That's going to be encouraging, not only for them personally, but for Toyota Gazoo Racing UK, and sort of does prove that now going the M Sport route has certainly certainly worked here, at least.
Yeah, I mean, I quizzed them very hard on what the differences were, and in actual measurable performance, there's very little difference. It's all about how that power is delivered and drivability, and the drivability of it is what's giving them extra speed. It just shows that it's not all about horsepower figures. Now, do those umbrellas going up mean that there's more drizzle coming? I can see a few umbrellas in the pit lane as well.
We are hearing it's getting heavier as Tony Carosa, facing us, talks to Ash Sutton with his back to us down in the Napa Racing garage. There was a rather disconsolate Dan Camish at the other side of the garage as well. There'll be a disappointed Dan Rowbottom in there as well. So, yeah, quite a lot of hard luck stories for the end of the day. One more 10-minute part of qualifying to go. Darrell De Leon will head on to a wet circuit with Senna Proctor, Josh Cook, Dan Lloyd, Jake Hill and Gordon Shedden for company.
Yeah, it's going to be an interesting one. That rain coming perhaps just a bit too late for the likes of Ash Sutton and Tom Ingram. They'd have loved it to have been a bit wetter, just to maybe make a bit more difference as a driver in the corners.
Family Sutton on hand, the moral support for Dad. Now, in these conditions, it's going to be really interesting, isn't it, to see who comes out on top. Ash Sutton disappointed. It was always going to be tough, though, around here with a lack of boost, wasn't it, Louise?
Well, exactly. The guys were just saying it was always going to be tough around here with the lack of boost. Was that what caught you out there?
Yeah, lack of boost, lack of saloon car. There's a few things there that quite don't fit the boat here, if that makes sense. So, yeah, not ideal from our side. And we knew entering this weekend it was going to be a struggle. You saw with FP2, all four of our cars were 15th or 14th to 17th, so it's a struggle. Fair play to Dan, he's done a mega job there to get the car in and have a go, but yeah, we gave it our all. Had a little spin, I ain't done that for a while, so that was fun and exciting. But
what was that? It looked like you just caught the inside of the curve. Is that what caused that?
We've suffered a little bit of oversteer at turn one all day, and we made some changes, but we've made some changes thinking it was going to be a bit on the wetter side. Car wasn't really ideal for the dry conditions, so yeah, just lost the rear on entry, tried to hang on, but unfortunately RPM revs went down, car kept rotating, had to give up at some point.
Starting mid-pack, that's the kind of toughest place to start in many ways, isn't it?
It is. It's the same conversation of the deployment when you've hardly got any laps. I know Tom's in the same boat, but it's going to make it super hard moving forward, and defending from the cars behind there. It's what we see in sort of 7 or 8 tenths a lap here in speed difference. You can't defend from that. It's nigh on impossible. So we'll get our elbows out for sure. We'll make it exciting, but yeah, it's going to be a tough day tomorrow.
No doubt about that. We look forward to seeing you get your elbows out. See you out there.
Cheers, boys.
And if anybody can do it, it's Ash Sutton. But yeah, reflecting on those setup adjustments that weren't quite right for the conditions. Now the conditions are deteriorating. Is this where an old hand like Gordon Shedden is able to turn it on and go quickest?
I might say yes, Tom, because looking at this weather, it's getting worse out there, isn't it?
Yeah, and this is going to favour those who are on the least amount of token boost. That is going to play into the hands and be less of a disadvantage. Now, Gordon Shedden, who is coming out of the last corner now, they're just doing their prep runs. I've just looked outside my bedroom window, JB, and it's lashing it down heavily.
It's very dark where I am, actually, as well. Yeah, it's about an hour and a half away from Substance. It's getting dark. What do you think?
It's anyone's. It's anyone's. I mean, I still stand by the fact that the token boost will still come in handy of some degree, but you know, if you're Jake Hill, you've still got a chance of getting pole position. And of course, pole position gets you championship points, doesn't it?
Yeah. Just a couple out there, which is great. Oh, look how hard it's raining now. Yeah, this is almost a no-no out there today. Well, we'll see how it goes down. Right now, the situation is grim. As, they'll keep on pushing and shoving, seeing how it's going to change. What do you think? I think we're going to be in for an interesting end of this one.
I think we are. It could even come down to the last man over the line.
Check in with what they're saying.
Better off staying out on the slicks and hoping it dries.
And he is going to stay out. He does set a time. So a 66.4 is the opening salvo. Jake Hill, though, goes much quicker as he comes through. So Jake Hill now faster by a couple of tenths of a second. So he needs to go to the tiptoe through Cobbs.
Well, it'll be very interesting to see what a wet tyre car will do. Proctor will be the first of us to see what a wet tyre will do. But of course, we've seen this drizzle can blow over and it can dry out very quickly.
Now, we have had a couple of cars go back out. Darrell De Leon and Josh Cook on outlaps. They are still shown as being on slicks. There is Josh Cook making his way down the pit lane, but maybe that hasn't updated as he flicks the beam at the end of the pit lane. Let's check.
Yeah, and it's very well. I mean, I know they've reset the times here, Tom, and everything's golden again, but we are running 7 seconds a lap slow out here. It's really bad now.
Yeah, and I wouldn't be at all surprised to see the likes of Shedden and Hill and that, but they're actually still going quicker on the slicks than they were on the previous lap, so still able to extract a little bit more laps. So 1 minute 5 now for Shedden. That is Dan Lloyd going over the line with a 1 minute 6. Jake Hill, he'll be the next to cross over. I think Darrell De Leon went over the line there. I'm not sure if it was a legitimate time there for him. Hill actually came into the pit lane.
So he's backed out of the lap. He says, that's enough for me. I know we're not going to get much out of this, unfortunately. So this is not the way that we thought qualifying would end. The rain has affected us. And we're just in a waiting game with 5.5 minutes to go. Shedden, Hill, Lloyd, De Jong, Cook, Proctor. That's the order as things stand.
And Proctor's gone purple in sector 1 with Josh Cook hanging over the line in that Toyota. I think that was just to begin a lap, actually. But we're looking at Proctor's gone purple again in sector 2. I think this is a good opportunity. It might even go to the 1 minute 3s, JB.
Over the line, let's see. We've got to have something. Proctor's looking strong. He likes these mixed conditions, remember. We've seen it from him in the past, taking surprise top positions. The man who's returned to the championship halfway through the season takes the checkered flag line with 5 minutes to go and moves up to provisional pole position, a 1:02.902. Much more like it.
Yeah, that was a great lap time from Proctor. Good benchmark for those to catch up. And the good thing is, he's already got those tyres into the operating window, so he's going to have more laps on those before they drop away than those who've only just come in for wets now and getting those up to temperature. Josh Cook is the next one to head of the line. No time yet for him, but this has been a better session for him than I think in most rounds. He did miss Knockhill because of One Motorsport not being around for them, but he has moved teams to Toyota, and his latest time is good enough for a 1 minute 3.3.
Wets are going on, mate. Wets are going on. So they've clearly gone, yeah, okay, that needed to be the decision. It's clearly just too much out there. I'm surprised we didn't go for that decision earlier, aren't you? Slicks, some on slicks, some on wets.
We know for obvious reasons which tyres are the best to be on. Well, Jake Hill with a little bit of squirminess coming out of turn number 1 at Cops, and out of the last corner, gets it on the curb, and that's just how hard you can tell he is pushing. Despite the fact that there's only effectively 4 corners around this circuit which you have to nail.
Consistently as well, it's not really anything around this place. This is Josh Cook. Second fastest 1:02.928. That is insane. 26 thousandths of a second between them at the moment. There's nothing between them.
There isn't, but Hill is finding time in sectors 1 and 2 with the personal best he's been able to produce. He's over 3 seconds off the pace with his best time so far, but this one I think is good enough for him to move to provisional pole position, and it is good enough, half a second clear over Proctor.
So, more time, more delta, more pace, and Hill takes provisional pole position and spins it coming out of Cops. 360, 720, over the Goodyear to the old exit of the pit lane, and that is, well, that's the MotoGP exit for the pits, but Hill with a 720 there as well, Tom, and that's not the way you want to see it.
No, and that's not going to be the last of the weekend if it is going to rain tomorrow. Dan Lloyd, meanwhile, as we're looking at Josh Cook, who's the next ahead of the line. Is it good enough to get provisional pole here? No. It's not, but it is enough for the front row. Dan Lloyd and Darrell De Leon were waiting for radical improvements, and the same for Gordon Shedden.
Times are improving, deltas are improving. In the final few minutes of this session, 2/10 the difference as we watch Dan Lloyd now. And Darryl de Jong. Lloyd's in the first sector. De Jong's in the last two. The rain on that camera angle looks heavier than the one located at Woodcote into Luffield, or Luffield into Woodcote. First sector for Darryl de Jong, though, is good. 16.617. 23.48. So over the line, Darryl now goes up to third position. But Dan Lloyd, 16.135, first sector, looking strong. Up in the middle sector, 20.303. So he's slightly faster than Hill's time. Not by much, though, Tom, as he comes out of the last corner now. This could be a Dan Lloyd pole.
It could be. This is a chance for him to close in the arrears in the fight in the Independence Championship with Mikey Dable and Chris Smiley. This time for Lloyd, front row.
Wow, 35 thousandths of a second off the place as well, so just missing out on the overall deltas and times. They'll run it in shortly and sooner. Here's Gordon Shedden. Is he going to get his first pole back in the touring cars over the line? 101, 102. Yes, he does! Flash Gordon! 102.256. Provisional pole. More data time coming though. It's not over yet. Darryl de Jong's looking fast over the line. And now Darryl de Jong gets pole position. 102.218. 38 thousandths off. 30 seconds to go. And it's old v new. I don't know anymore.
Come down to the last man over the line, JB. Senna Proctor is on a lap of his own. Green in sector 1. He's using his Toka boost on the Wellington straight. We're right on board. This is Josh Cook, I believe, or Dan Lloyd rather. He's going over the line. It's not an improvement that time, but he's got one more attempt to snatch pole position away from Darryl de Leon.
Checker flag comes out. Everyone on the lap times. Gordon Shedden the first to cross that checker flag line. Does he improve? No. So Flash Gordon does not improve. Next over, Senna Proctor. He doesn't improve either. Next up it comes with Jake Hill and Darryl de Jong. Darryl takes that wide line into Woodcote to hook it up. Coming down to Luffield, there's the checker flag line. Jake Hill will be first across it. Has Hill got anything left? I think he's boxing. I think Hill's coming to the pit lane. Yes, I think, yeah, Hill boxes. And so has Darryl de Jong. So that's it. Unless Josh Cook's got something we don't know about, as he comes over the line. Sector time's not looking that great. Hill boxes. Cook stays here where he is. It's Darryl de Jong who takes pole position at Silverstone. A mega performance from the youngster who won earlier on this season. Fantastic. Mixed up qualifying, mixed up session. Top notch, top notch. And Shedden starts second, Tom. The old dog still got it.
Yep, he still got it, very much so. Can he go for another win tomorrow in race number 1 or even in the races beyond that? But a day to remember for Darryl de Leon. He continues his fine season. The man who currently sits in 9th in the championship. He hasn't finished on the podium. He's only finished on the podium twice this season. The win at Brands Hatch and the other being in race 2 in Croft. Well, he's got a chance to make it 3 podiums this season if he can help it.
He does indeed. What a run. Okay, final thoughts from you, Tom?
There's the ride height checks as well, because Jake Hill's just going through there now, as is Darryl de Leon. So, provided maybe the next couple of minutes where they do pass these ride height checks, then we should be in for a brilliant first race tomorrow before the other 2 come around.
All going under as well for Darryl de Jong. That confirms him on pole position. Now he'll weigh the car, which is just normal, to make sure it's all okay. Onto the bricks he goes. Gets weighed. And out he goes. And that's confirmed. He'll have pole position. So de Jong, Shedden, Hill, Lloyd and Cook and Proctor have pole position. That's your running order here from Silverstone as well. That's the action as well. Not bad at all. For those watching on JB Motorsports 2, we'll return to the action. For those watching on JB Motorsports, thanks for your company. We'll see you tomorrow.